Now again, another current affair. I think in the last 3 or 4 years, so much of external sector related current issues have not happened this much like what has happened in 2018. Again, external commercial borrowing, a component of capital account. Okay, from the term itself, you need to understand what is this external commercial borrowing. Okay, so normally we in the case of India, the last for a quite long time, the Indian government, that is the central government, is not borrowing, or it is negligible. If they borrow also, it is negligible from the external market. So the external commercial borrowing is not used by the central government. Okay, who is using this external commercial borrowing? The private sector or the commercial entities. Try to understand the not only private sector, the commercial entities, including public sector enterprises. I said government is not taking. Public sector enterprises can do. Okay. Now, in regarding this external commercial borrowing, again, RBI. So you can again link it. Okay. Who are the regulator of external commercial borrowing? Who is the regulator of foreign portfolio investors? Direct regulator is SEBI. Who is the regulator of external commercial borrowing? It is RBI. It is RBI. Okay. So RBI recently have rationalized and come up with a framework for external commercial borrowing. Okay. Now try to understand that again, like in the case of FPI, there is a limit. So there is a limit for FPI, yes or no? There is a limit in the case of FPI, whether in relation to government securities or in relation to corporate bond. Similarly, in the case of external commercial borrowings also, there is a limit. Means beyond that limit, a company can't borrow. Okay. Again, it has been liberalized. Okay. Now, it is saying that, okay, what is the new? Recently, RBI have come up with a new framework on external commercial borrowing. We will see that what is that new framework which have liberalized, which has liberalized in regards, it has increased also the external commercial borrowing. Okay. So, under the new framework, all eligible borrowers, so we have to know that who are these, it's a many important concepts are there. It said that under the new framework, all eligible borrowers can now raise up to 750 million. Okay. In one financial year. So if you are an eligible borrower, who are the eligible borrower, we will explain. That is also important. All eligible borrower in one financial year can. So you can link this to liberalized remittance scheme. Under the liberalized remittance scheme, what is the limit? How much you can use it for? Huh? It's a small amount. It's not, so be very clear. Okay, what is, it is 25,000 or 2,50,000. Okay. So here it's million. 1 million means it is 10 lakh. 1 million is 6 zeros. Okay. So be very clear with these facts. Don't get confused. Okay. So they can give that limit here, exchange those limit. Okay. Fact. Again, this fact is very important. This fact is very important. Okay. 750 million because it was updated, revised. So in one financial year, one borrower, eligible borrower in a financial year can borrow, and another word, automatic. We had discussed what is the concept of automatic, means without, it don't require the RBI approval. So here, see in the case of external commercial borrowing, who is the regulator, whose approval is required? Approval body will be RBI. So without the approval of RBI, it can bring this 750 million. And it also have replaced the existing sector-wise limit. Earlier, there used to be limit for sectors also. For example, it has given greater importance to infrastructure. Infrastructure companies, they said that, okay, if you borrow this much, it should be used for infrastructure and different sectors being given. Now, there is no sector-wise limit is there. Now, it's only a general list. Means, you can borrow for any purpose. But the limit is, so 3 things. Now, there is no sector-wise limit. No sector-wise limit. If you are an eligible borrower under automatic route, you can borrow up to 750 million, not billion, million. Okay. There have been a question in 2016 or 17 regarding National Infrastructure Investment Fund. What they have done, it was 40,000 crore. UPSC have given 4 lakh crore. They put one more zero. So UPSC used to do that. Okay. So like that, they can give you a million, instead of million, they can give you a billion. In the examination pressure, we will not see it. 750 billion is too much. It is more than our forex reserves. So obviously it is a nonsense. You are getting the point. So be very careful when you see these. So you have to connect with, okay, we already only have 400 billion as forex reserve. How it can be? So that logic you have to apply and you have to say that this is wrong. Then it has expanded the list of eligible borrowers. Okay, earlier the eligible borrowers list was small. Now it has expanded. Who all things were included under the eligible borrowers? Now under eligible borrowers include port trust. So earlier port trust was not included. Port trust. Then units in special economic zone. Then development financial institutions like SIDB, Exim Bank. Registered entities under microfinance institutions. Then not-for-profit organizations, cooperatives and NGOs. Even NGOs are also been included under the expanded list of eligible borrowers. Okay, NGO, non-profit organizations, SIDB, Exim Bank, units in special economic zone, port trust, all are been included. Now they also can borrow up to. Why this expansion? Because again, once you borrow foreign currency, it will result in increase in forex reserve. Yes or no? External commercial borrowing, for time being it will increase, but when it is get matured, then RBI have to find out. All these people will give this foreign currency to RBI in the foreign exchange market, because RBI will mop up these forex currency. Now another important, this is very important thing, that what RBI, this will make you to revise FDI. All entities who are eligible to receive FDI, if you are eligible, if FDI is allowed to a particular entity, then they can borrow under the ECB framework. This is a very important liberal thing. Okay, if an entity is eligible to attract FDI, if in a particular sector, a particular company, if they are allowed to invest under FDI, then they are eligible under ECB framework. A very important core point. It was not there. It was introduced recently by RBI under the new framework. Then, in order to prevent this terrorist financing and other thing, money laundering, any entity who can be the lender. See, now we are talking about the borrower. Who can be the recognized lender? Again, it has given a larger liberal interpretation. Any entity who is a resident of a country which is a part of Financial Action Task Force. You have studied what is the Financial Action Task Force. Basically to prevent money laundering and terror financing. Okay. And International Organization of Securities Commission. It's basically a commission for dealing with all the securities regulator. So any entity who is a member of FATF or a member of International Organization of Securities Commission are eligible as recognized lender. Then RBI, so the minimum maturity period have been reduced to 3 years. Earlier, the minimum, see, if you are borrowing under ECB, the minimum maturity should be 5 years. Earlier, if you want to borrow from outside the country, minimum maturity means the loan amount the tenure of the loan should be 5 years and above. Now, you can borrow from 3 years. So, the minimum average maturity period should be now have been reduced to 3 years from the earlier 5-year period. Very important point. For all external borrowings, for all the external commercial borrowings, earlier there used to be many restrictions, all have been removed. Now uniformity have been applied. It is irrelevant of the amount. The minimum tenure should be, minimum tenure under ECB should be 3 years. Earlier it was 5 years. Now earlier there used to be different divisions under the ECB program. Track 1, track 2, track 3, etc. Now that have been merged. Track 1 is, I think it is not there in the material. You can know, just for your understanding. They will not ask you, but have an idea. It was like this, now it is like this. Earlier there used to be four tier. There used to be 4 category of ECB. Now there is only 2 category. Earlier 4 category, now 2 category. What are the 4 category? Earlier track 1. There used to be a medium term ECB of 3 to 5 years. There used to be a track 1. So there used to be a restriction for track 1 compared to track 2. Track 2 is long term ECB. RBI have promoted track 2 only. Track 1 was, there was a lot of restriction used to be there. But now track 1 and track 2 is merged. Now there is no, under the new framework, there is no track 1 and track 2. Now they are called as, they are merged and are called as foreign currency denominated ECB. This is one. Track 1 and track 2 have been merged and now it is called as foreign currency denominated external commercial borrowing. What do you mean by foreign currency denominated commercial borrowing? You are borrowing in foreign currency and once it gets matured, you have to pay back the principal in foreign currency, interest also in foreign currency. Now, track 3 includes those entities like NBFCs and microfinance institutions. And there was to be another category called rupee denominated borrowing. Masala bond, you remember masala bond? We have studied it, okay? Go and revise it if you have it down. It is not a foreign currency denominated borrowing. It is again external commercial borrowing, but in which way? It is rupee denominated. So, this rupee denominated borrowing and track 3 have been merged and now they are called as rupee denominated external commercial borrowing. Now, there is only under the new framework, there is only 2 categories. That is foreign currency denominated ECB and rupee denominated ECB. Masala bonds will come under rupee denominated ECB. Now, just simply a concept. What is external commercial borrowing? We already discussed. What is that? It is a loan availed by an entity from a non-resident lender. Then only external now. External means outside the country. Now, don't think that this loan, it can be, don't think that it is only a bank loan. Even bonds also be there. Any debt instrument, but condition is outside the country, non-resident. But most of these loans are given by foreign commercial banks. Now it is changing because of the promotion of masala bonds. Now again, under this new framework, in relation to external commercial borrowing also, RBI have set a limit. RBI limits the total outstanding ECB. Total outstanding means the total ECB. You know, individually it is 750 million. But you take all the ECBs of a country, total amount at a period of time, it should not be more than 6.5% of GDP. But this GDP is nominal GDP. What is nominal GDP? GDP at current price. Now our GDP is calculated at market prices. You know that, okay? Now our GDP is calculated at market prices. What is nominal GDP? We are calculating GDP at current price. What is real GDP? GDP calculated at constant price. So this 6.5% of GDP at current market prices. Current market prices means nominal GDP. Nominal GDP, because our now GDP is GDP at market price. And as per the total GDP by March 2000, if you take March 2018 GDP figure, that is 2017-18 financial year, this 6.5% of GDP at current prices will be, it will come approximately 160 billion. It means that the maximum total external commercial borrowing can be up to. Now when the new data arrives, there will be correction, because now in 2018-19, March 2019, GDP might have increased. So naturally, external, so now automatically under this 6.5%, it will move on. So be very clear about, so there is a rule regarding, or there is a limit regarding foreign portfolio investment. There is a limit regarding external commercial borrowing. Why it is so? Because we are a country which is having partial capital account convertibility. if we go for full capital account convertibility, we can't bring these restrictions. When a country go for full capital account convertibility, we cannot introduce any capital account restrictions. These all are external commercial borrowing, foreign portfolio investment, all are what? They are capital account components.